There's a rather primal appeal to games in the genre known as adult games. Moment-to-moment interaction between the player and the game is far more spaced out than in an action game, where inputs mostly provide instant reward or gratification. Idle games like Doublespeak's classic A Dark Room, Aniwey's Candy Box, or Playsaurus, Clicker Heroes occupy players' attention enough to be a welcome distraction, an opportunity to nourish a system with bits of your attention, making numbers go up, while instilling a feeling of progression with minimal effort, a challenge. It's that kind of feeling that Mariano, Hopfrog, Cavallero, is chasing with Forager Billed as an adult game that you want to actively keep playing. It embraces the grind with tighter gameplay loops than other adult games, while making time disappear. My card design pillar for this game has always been the adult game that you do not want to let sit idle, said Cavallero in anime. I feel that's something idle games are not really doing at the moment. I would play some idle games for a little, make some interesting choices, but then have to wait to make my next fun choice. Born out of a game jam, Forager was eventually picked up by Humble Bundles Publishing and struck a chord with players. Hastily climbed to the top of Steam's sales charts last month. Inspired by Stardew, Zelda, and Minecraft, players must forage the surrounding environment to gain resources that they can use these resources to craft, build, and purchase expansions of your island, with ever more items and tools to unlock. It's that style of item-based progression that Cavallero thinks makes Forager a game that sets it apart from more typical idle games. The other main problem I had with these games was that upgrades and new content felt too numerical and similar, he said. All upgrades or bonuses are almost always statistical advantages. Getting a 10% mining skill is way less fun than getting a new pickaxe that causes rocks to explode. Cavallero said this careful attention to progression, wherein the game is designed to constantly provide new and interesting challenges and mechanics, is key to keeping players' attention. Multiple achievable goals, along with slowly opening up and introducing the features, is I think the main factor in the amazing player retention we have with Forager, he said. I like people to experience some monotonous repetition, because it feels very rewarding and fun to discover new ways to automate or simplify previously boring tasks, he said. But just about when you are getting tired of something, something else comes up to catch your attention. It could be a puzzle, an APA, a new upgrade that you can make. Anything really. There are far different paths to take in Forager: industry, magic, foraging, and economy. Each of these paths allow players to play in different ways, affording a level of variety in play that is able to supersede the feeling of excessive grind. For Cavallero, he recognizes that one of the appeals of idle games is the satisfying late-game feeling of overpowerness, which is essentially the payoff for the grind and repetition players experience in idle games. He explained this progression to power in Forager. The industry branch leads to robots and automation. Magic leads to bots that mine complete islands, and scrolls that summon all sorts of things. Foraging turns into large-scale farming and hunting. And finally, economy represents the strictly capitalist way of playing the game. Just hold coins and earn money on interest. Even with all the stuff to do in Forager, there are a whole lot of plants to forage, animals to hunt, items to use, etc. Cavallero still thinks the game needs more for players to do in this little playground. The idea is to throw as much cool new stuff as fast as I can without overwhelming players, said Cavallero. 2018 was a vintage year an inclusion of gamers with disabilities, with all kinds of lovely firsts. Post on the progress made throughout the year is incoming. But first, a few of my favorite quotes from the past year. Some of them thought-provoking, some inspiring, some a reality check. Taken together, they show clear progress and a clear need for more progress. Whether you are motivated by hearing the difference that your games can make, motivated by unsolved problems that need to be fixed, or just want a handy list of good people to follow on Twitter, hopefully there will be something for you here. A few of the people quoted in this post, image courtesy of Vivek Gohil. Games can bring agency to people who often do not have it. Being able to make choices is something that many of us take for granted. Bryce Johnson Microsoft. I just want to grab all you developers and share our tears, our struggles, and just how badly we want to play your games with that must be. Robinson. It's not that why we make games. To deliver wonderful experiences to as many as possible. Peter KLOGBR. Several years ago, I was diagnosed with advanced keratoconus, a degenerative eye disease. I lost the ability to play many games, and enjoy some of the pastimes I have so loved. Warframe is what I turned to when I had a complicated problem, a deep stress in my life. Even just sitting in region chat, big monitor with the text and the window size cranked all the way up, has helped me not feel so isolated and powerless. Blindman Plays. If games did not have subtitles, I would not know English today. So yet, Rizzo. Video games help keep my arthritis under control. Playing video games forces me to move and flex my fingers and hands, which would otherwise become stiff with arthritis. Plus, since I am disabled and basically homebound, it helps keep me occupied. Tim Ashley. I have been playing Sims games for years, but the last year, I have been losing my vision, and now, I struggle to read menu options on text bars. Losing my vision has not been scary or horrible. I have been very positive about it. But I do not want to lose my ability to play one of my favorite games since I was a kid. OLLIDSTARCASM. As of late, what motivates me to purchase a new game has shifted from graphics, content, etc. to accessibility. Accessibility is huge for me as a disabled gamer. André J Daughtry. I play games. I make games. I am low vision. I remember when studios do not think I am worth their time and consideration. Meghan Dornbrock. I understand that games are created with a specific vision in mind, and they are meant to be played a certain way, experienced a certain way. Except, when you force your ideal experience on people that can experience it, you likely lose them as customers forever. Only old gamer girl. I bought this game for my enjoyment. Why should the dev be the one to dictate how I do that? Kelly MacNeill Sony. I spent many hours fine-tuning the difficulty of Celeste, so it's easy for me to feel precious about my designs. But ultimately, we want to empower the player and give them a good experience, and sometimes that means letting go. Matt Dawson. Obviously, it is not how I intended players to enjoy the game, but, hey, who am I to tell people how they have to play or enjoy? Carlos Coronado. Gamers really need to try to understand that their experiences are not universal. This is the understatement of our industry. It is our biggest hurdle. Bryce Johnson Microsoft. I keep my phone screen so dark that I was struggling to tell navy from purple in this at 2 death level. Switched to colorblind mode. Problem solved. Accessibility. Helps Everyone Margaux Henquinet. Some of us gamers agent do not have the eyesight we used to. Then the human. It just occurred to me I have been completely deaf my entire 40-year life. Was born deaf. And the first time I have ever been shut out from being able to enjoy something in my way was when I started gaming. Only old gamer girl. I hate how angry I become over colorblind related difficulties in video games. This is not a fucking challenge I can overcome, so I just feel penalized for existing and playing a video game. Marc Straight Impairment Environment Disability. As designers, we disable people when we do not get it right. Jamie Knight. BBC. The biggest misconception about accessibility is that by adding it you are doing someone a favor. You are not. You are doing your job. James Williamson Lynda Reminder. Designers have an ethical responsibility to make accessibility part of the conversation, whenever possible, as early as possible. Nate Davis. Axon Interactive. We are coming up on 2 billion people playing video games on this planet. As an industry, when you start to hit that kind of impact act in terms of the broad base of people that interact with your art form, I do think we have a social responsibility